Hello, Facebook followers. When we think about getting in shape, we're often thinking about our own personal fitness and wellness goals. But when we think about our business or the practice health and wellness, we have to think about it a little bit differently than our own personal fitness. We have to be thinking about what are we doing right now to prepare us for a successful tomorrow. My name is Eric Nuss. I'm the Director of Business Solutions at Henry Schein Dental, and I'm joined here by Art Steineker, owner and practitioner at Steineker and Dillon Dental Practice in Alabama. So it's a pleasure to be here with you, Art.
Good to see you, Eric.
You know, in this context of healthy practices, I'm curious how you would define a healthy practice.
Well, a healthy practice is one in which our patients are taken care of in an exquisite manner. Our employees are respected at a very high level and valued and honored, and that we as the providers are taken care of in a good manner. So a lot of ways that can be healthy. We've got to be healthy financially, we've got to be healthy technologically, we've got to be healthy in our professional way of being.
Sure. So when I think about personal fitness and staying in shape, that's time in the gym and it's investments in nutrition, and for a practice it's obviously different. What investments have you made over the course of the last couple of years to really put a focus on a healthy practice?
Well, we a couple of years ago when I was in Milwaukee at the Schein Dental Business Institute, I became aware that we were an averagely healthy practice, although we made a lot of money. I mean, we were doing fine that way, but there was just some things we could do to tighten it up. We looked at human resources, which we were very poor at. We had no human resource program. We had just the lowest level possible of forms that employees had filled out. We would have been in all kind of trouble with anyone who came in and checked us out. We looked at our technology, it was poor. We looked at the way we communicated with our patients, it was poor. So we realized that although we were doing okay, when we went to the doctor, or if we'd gone to a mechanic and he had looked under our hood, he would have been real unhappy with what he saw.
It's a good analogy. You've grown a lot. I know that when you started at the Business Institute, you were one practice and your partner had one practice and they came together and then you wanted to expand into more. What specifically were you looking for in that quest for expansion? And maybe a second part to that question, why expand at all for that matter, but then maybe get to some of the metrics that you were looking for specifically in the practices that you might be targeting?
Well, the reason we wanted to expand was we just saw this huge dynamic in the market where young doctors were coming out and they either could not or would not acquire a practice. And we saw these older doctors that were trying to sell and they couldn't sell, or the people that they wanted to sell to, we didn't feel were doing a very good job of looking after them and looking after their patients and looking after their staffs. And we knew that we had a better way to do that. So that was our biggest thing. Our biggest challenge was, and our biggest hope and opportunity was to help these people on both ends and make a market in between for us, for our trouble. So that's where we started out.
Gotcha. And when you look at the human capital side of this, certainly with one practice, you've got headcount of assistant, office manager, hygienist, producers, the dentist. But when you get into a multi-site business, you've obviously got other personnel that are supporting the business. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, we have 14 employees, team members, I should call them, in our practice. And now with the practices we've acquired, we're over 125. So it was important for us to honor them. When we moved in, the biggest fear they had was that their life was going to change.
Sure.
And that their life was going to be worse, or that they might not have a job. And our model is that we wanted to value the dignity of every one of the employees that we're coming up on. And we've lost one employee in the last 14 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when I think of companies that have great retention, obviously there's something that's happening in the culture of the organization, be it that there's a strong alignment around the common interest, but I'm just curious from your perspective, in your business, in your practices, the 125 employees, how are you keeping them all engaged and on board with you?
Well, our basic philosophy is we tell them from day one that we're just going to be nice to each other and we're going to be kind. And if we do those things, it'll work out well. We have policies that we feel reflect family values. We resolve conflict very quickly. And we just want to respect the dignity of each and every one of our employees all day, 24/7.
Sure. Associates are hard to come by these days. Seems like when we talk to other group practices, one of the biggest challenges they have is attracting a new associate that may not have an equity share in the business. But what are you doing perhaps on the associate side, or any secret tricks you've got in attracting and retaining associate doctors?
Yeah, we think we've got a great model for that. Our model is we bring them in there only if they want to be part of that practice long term. We don't want employees, we want partners down the road. Now, the market has set how much money we're going to have to compensate them with and what kind of benefits we're going to have to give them. We don't get to really negotiate that.
Sure.
But I think bringing the ones in that want to be part of it and want to have equity in the practice has been a great qualifier for us.
Gotcha. In terms of next steps, perhaps, where's this business going, and then second part to this question, how do you sustain this really strong culture that you've created as you potentially scale up even further?
Well, our level of management is reasonably adequate for where we are today. We took a couple of office managers and took them out of an office and put them over 2 or 3 other different practices. So that's where our level of management is right now. But from a day-to-day basis, it's very difficult for a chairside dentist to be able to be the CEO of 6 or 8 or 10 or 15 or 20 dental practices.
Sure.
So for me, it's going to be, I'm going to step back. I'm going to get an associate in my practice. I'm stepping back very soon to be an upper level of management. And I'm hopeful that in the next year or two, there'll be somebody way above me doing this. But I just think if we're patient, if we do our diligence, and if we keep treating our people with dignity and respect, we'll be just fine.
I imagine that transition from being a big-time producer to being a big-time leader and executive in the business is no easy pill to swallow.
It is exciting. It's awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because, that's what I'm a coach at heart.
Sure.
And I think any good dentist is probably a pretty good coach, because that's what you're doing all day long. You're coaching your team. You're coaching your patients. So I'm just going to coach a few more folks.
I couldn't agree more. It's super exciting. And when you think about walking into that chief executive role, and you think about all the other people beside you and around you, what are you maybe more specifically looking for in those people to continue to elevate your stature in this business and stay out in front? They talk about great leaders surround themselves with other great people. And certainly with 125 employees, one of which has left the business, something's working. So I'm curious on the level of the executive level that you're building around you.
Well, what I'm excited about doing is just getting into these practices more frequently and letting them understand our culture and reinforcing our culture and letting them know that that's the way it's going to be.
Sure.
And I think people are excited about being part of something once they know exactly what it is.
So that reminds me a little bit about the Business Institute when we talk a little bit about vision and values. And I know that, going clear back to when we were in class, a lot of our students talked about this transformation that would happen when they really got serious around the vision of the practice and the values for which they stood by. Did you have any similar experiences or maybe a story that you could tell around that, just in terms of the team really rallying around a common thread? You talked a little bit about that we're going to be good to each other, but those core values.
Well, it goes just past being good to each other.
Yeah.
We have a culture of really being great to our patients, and we really have a culture of being great to our community. I know in my own practice, we have 6 events a year that we sponsor in the community, and they may be 6 different ones every year, but they'll be anywhere from going on a cancer walk and raising money for that, or there'll be a food drive for the humane shelter, or there'll be, a back-to-school fundraising drive. And it's important for us to do this for the community.
Sure.
And I think doing this just constantly reminds us of who we are and who we're called to be. We get our patients in on it. We use the demand force, and when it's time for them to come in for their appointment, we let them know that we're doing these things, and we ask them to contribute, and they're thrilled to do it. We did a coat drive, and we thought maybe we'd get 50 or 60 coats, and we ended up with 650 coats that first year. And one of my patients is a dry cleaner, and he offered to clean them all, and then we had folks that could get them where they needed to be. So I just think our core value of always trying to be good and do the right thing, whether it's inside the office or outside the office, is what drives us, and it's what makes us better.
Sure. Something we have in common. Our company really has a firm belief in doing well by doing good. Art, I've really appreciated this time. I've got one last question for you. If you were to put your finger on the one thing that you could make a recommendation to other dentists around the country to prepare them better for healthy practices, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a good question that you asked there. I think you've really got to invest some time and some money in education. I think we need to listen to our reps a little bit more. When they come in, sometimes, we're busy and we don't want to listen, and we think they're just trying to do something to us or sell something to us. When I finally let go and realized that you guys are really trying to do something for us and to help us, that's when everything really took off.
That's pretty awesome. Art, it's been a real pleasure spending some time with you, getting to follow up from your postgraduate work at the Dental Business Institute. It's always good to see you too. For now, we thank you, Schein followers, and this has been another great Scheinchat. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.